Hi, everyone. Thank you for joining. Give me 1 second. I'm going to bring up the presentation and we're going to get started. Can everybody see my screen?
Yes, I can
Yes.
see it.
Yes.
All right. All right. Thank you so much. And thank you for joining today. My name is Catherine Jackson. I am the VP here at Far South CDC. And thank you for coming in to join on our EMBA program, expanding minority business access. So first, I'm going to start by saying thank you for joining us at this EMBA workshop. We're going to spend the next probably 60 minutes or so. It might be quicker than that though, on how your business can grow through government and corporate contracting. So please refer to your handout. Did everybody get the handout?
No.
It was a handout in the
Yes.
email.
I got it.
Yeah,
No.
you didn't get it? Okay, it was a part of the attachment. It should have been. If you could go back in your email, it might have been from me or Crystal that shared it. It should be a handout in there. If not, just let me know. And then I'll have to send you the email after the presentation, but it's a handout that would go through a couple of things as we're going through the presentation. I just want to make sure I get this. Oh, okay. All right. So if not, I'm going to move to the next part. So before we get started, we want to thank all the organizations that helped make the EMBA possible. The EMBA program is funded by a grant from the Fund of Equitable Business Growth with support from Allstate, Comcast, and AT&T. So we want to thank all of our participants and everybody that helped create this program. Again, my name is Catherine Jackson. I'm the VP of Business Services here at the Business Services Department at Far South CDC. As you can see, my email, I placed my email up there. So if you have any questions, the best way to contact us right now is through email. Our executive administrator, Patricia Ballet, if you have any questions about any of our programs, we are a Far South CDC does a lot of stuff. They're a community development organization. So as far as the Business Services Department, we are a neighborhood development center through the city of Chicago. And what the neighborhood development centers do, we help with everything city related. So if your business is located within the city of Chicago, we will help you kind of troubleshoot the particular neighborhoods. If you're trying to go in a certain area, that might include certain programs like the Small Business Improvement Fund or the SPIF applications that really come out through the year. Also the Chicago Recovery Grant or the Neighborhood Opportunity Fund. If you're trying to start a business within certain corridors, those are actual, I wouldn't say they're grants, they're more like reimbursement programs through the city of Chicago that will help you kind of start your business in certain areas. And then also connecting to different resources within the city. So that's within our Neighborhood Development Center, our NBDC program. Also, we are an Illinois Procurement Technical Assistance Center. And what that means is that we will help if your business is located within the state of Illinois, we will help with getting minority-owned, veteran-owned, women-owned, and variety of certifications, which kind of the EMBA program will kind of discuss what those certifications are about. So the Illinois Procurement Technical Assistance Center is partnered through the Defense Logistics Agency, but it's actually going to be changing very soon to the Department of Defense. So we help with a variety of things with government contracting, as long as your business is located within Illinois. So that's just a little bit about a couple of our programs. But again, Far South does a whole lot of things. And if you have any questions about that, you can reach out to me. My name is Catherine. So my email, Catherine@farsouthcdc.org, or Patricia Ballet, who is our executive administrator. So if you have any questions about the program, or you would like to schedule an appointment, right now, all of our appointments are kind of being scheduled now in January, in the January calendar. So if you would like to discuss any one of those programs or get an appointment, just let us know. So we're gonna actually get into everything that we are learning today. So government procurement, selling to local and state and federal government agencies. What can your business sell to one of these entities? If you are just starting out, think about what your company could possibly sell after you have been established. So in the handout on page 2, it's kind of a part right there where it says like what you can think about and sell. I don't know if you guys have the handout right now. Does anybody have the handout right now? They can see on page 2. Let's see what I'm talking about.
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay. So that page 2 would kind of guide you and kind of think about what, because there's different things right now that you can think about, like government contracting versus government procurement. They're two different. So right there, it would kind of like help you think about what can a private sector buy from an established company. So like say, for example, like a Walmart might buy, I guess a good example is this is like Myo Organics. They're selling in Walmart right now. So they bought, like they had some type of contract with Myo Organics to sell within their different stores. Now, if you think about the government might buy, say, I don't know, like cheese or something like that. And then that's a whole different process. They're both a little bit different, but we're going to kind of discuss a little bit of, everything. If you're an established business who does not currently have a corporate or government contract, there might be several reasons why you have not explored it. Maybe you think your company is too small for a government contract, or you don't know how to invest in learning about the process, or you don't just have enough time or money or resources, etc. We're hoping that because you are here today, that is a sign that contracting might be what your business needs, which I'm pretty sure all you guys are here today to learn about that process, right? I'm looking at that too. So yes. So our goal is to expand minority business owners' access to business opportunities at all levels. This could be the local, state, and federal government contracts, utilities, corporations that are headquartered here, retail stores in your neighborhood, a variety of sources. Depending on what stage your business is in and how much experience you have and may be ready to pursue a very large contract, large depending on your business, meaning that, for example, a $50,000 contract could be the biggest one you have ever entered. Some of you might be ready to complete that for a $1 million contract. So it just depends on what stage your business is actually in. So I'm going to explain a couple of more things about that. So think about how much government agencies and corporations spend annually. They can spend trillions of dollars, and federal government can spend about, I would say, $1.8 trillion. There are millions of minority-owned businesses in the US. So like with these companies that's coming up, which next slide right here shows a couple of business owners right here. So think about who has a business already and who might be in contract with the city of Chicago or works with the military. At some point, business owners heard about contracting from somewhere and decided to learn more. So these business owners are a couple of examples, which if in the next 60 minutes, well, I guess we're not going to spend that much. In the next 60 minutes, we're going to cover a couple of things though. Corporate contracting and government procurement, maybe you would travel down both. We are going to talk about more opportunities that are available. Help you describe your offer, meaning how could your company be a value of a certain project. We will discuss supplier inclusion and certification and just a variety of the business process and different help that will be free towards you for this process. So this is why this program was created. And most importantly, we will tell you about resources where you can get at no cost and one-on-one help to make this happen. Does that sound good?
Wonderful.
Yes, it does.
Yes. So preparing for these two paths is like preparing like a trip almost. The next step depend on how quickly and how far you are ready to go. So like if you look at this pathway, right? Getting packed, take steps right there, choose a destination, and then going the distance. So it's very similar to like getting your process started in government contracting. Sorry, you hear all the stuff behind me. We're working from home right now, but it's a lot of noise a little bit. So going back, like think about how the government agencies spend money. The federal government spends about 4.8 trillion each year. The private sector might spend way more than that. And there's so many areas to go into the private sector. And this right here, I'm trying to see if I can, this is actually a link that you can click on. That I'll send these PowerPoint slides out and the presentation. And there's a link that you can click on to see how much the federal government will spend. So this is really EMBA. So if you look at this picture right here, which is basically, regular office, the objective is to showcase the corporation and what a corporation might buy. So what did this company buy? Please just shout out a couple of things of what you think. What do you think the corporation, if somebody could take their mic off of mute, what do you think the corporation in this picture might have bought?
Office furniture, chairs, tables, things like that.
Yep, you are correct. You are correct.
Building cleaning services.
Exactly, cleaning services. Yes, that is a good point right there. So
What about the building?
That's true too. The building could have bought the corporation. They could have bought it from somebody else. They could have bought, a variety of things, and they might have bought it from a different company. That's all correct. That's all correct. Some of you, and like your business might be able to sell certain things right here because you just never know. Corporations buy a whole lot of things. So let me go to the next slide. So these are some of the reasons why corporations invest in supplier inclusion. So smaller companies are more agile to fewer approval levels, which may allow them to work faster. So basically, smaller companies have different approval levels. So sometimes corporations don't want to go through the hassle of dealing with, more than just like, hey, we want to do this and we want to get this from you without even going through all these A, B, and C's with a lot of bigger corporations. Competitive pricing. So it provides them with more options to evaluate. Where there are more people submitting bids, they can kind of get more competitive pricing. So if you stay with an existing vendor, they don't need to question the rates or anything else. So another thing too is innovation. So it encourages diverse perspectives and allows more innovation. So sometimes when it's older companies and they have, a bigger company, I should say, they might just not be innovative enough. And sometimes corporations want to see what's new out there. And then, customers want their supply chain and workforce to be looking like them. So sometimes when you look at supplier and diversity, they invest in inclusion because they want to hear from as many voices as possible. So these are some of the reasons why that corporations would invest in supplier and inclusion. So let's go back to that. So sometimes you'll see, like, if you go to I'll go back to Walmart. So if you go back to Walmart and you're trying to like say, hey, how did this person, for instance, My Organics, got into Walmart? They have an area, usually it's under the corporate side where it says supplier, it might say supplier inclusion and diversity. So if you go underneath there, they'll have a certain amount of things that they might buy. They might make you sign up and put your information in there, but those are usually on the corporation side. You'll see supplier diversity and inclusion if you're trying to look for different contract opportunities on the corporate side. All right, let's go to the next slide. So what does your company do exceptionally well? So think about the products and services you sell well. So the worksheet that you have and the handout that you have, you should think about like, what does your company do exceptionally well? If a company approaches a potential buyer and starts raffling off everything that their company is capable of doing, the prospect would probably lose interest really fast, which is true. Like some people be like, wait, what in the world are you doing? Everything, or what you want? What are you doing actually? So you want to get down to what your company sells and what you're trying to, who you're trying to sell to, I should say. Because sometimes it's too much information for them to translate. So you want to kind of make it easier for the buyer by focusing on one main things that you offer. And give me 1 second. Somebody's trying to come in. Thank you for joining. So these are kind of all what you should consider in your core competency. So if you look in that handout too, it has a couple of
That's
things.
to me, it's a compliment, right? You know, Burger King, coffee, McDonald's, whatever. But
Yeah.
they are very new. Now, here's the real deal. I mean, your real question is about competition and what effect that has to you day to day. And I'll tell you right now, no.
Yes. Hello. Yeah. Who is that speaking? Sorry. Hello.
I think it was a mistake of background noise.
Oh, okay. I'm like, wait, what's going on? I'm like, wait, okay. Well, okay. Well, you know, Burger King might buy a couple of things too. But all right. So Carice here. So I think that's how you spell her name. So when a potential buyer says, what do you do? They don't want to kind of get a long list of items or a bunch of perspectives of, you know, different things that you do. They want to know specific products and services you offer. They want to know how you can add value to a project. You could say that you are unique, offer exceptional services, and are dependable, but does that actually differentiate you from majority of companies? So at the same time, it goes back to like, not really selling yourself, but really just getting down to the narrow part of what are you going to add value and why this company would need your, you know, what you offer. So like Carice right here, she has engineering services. So it could have been a bunch of things that she could have explained what her engineering services do. But another thing, so you want to kind of look at the company and see what kind of engineering services they buy. Sometimes they'll allow you to see that who bought or who was the person that mainly got the bid or the contract. And sometimes you'll kind of have to just scout out their website and see what they do. So explain your value, list the key things your company provides. These are all examples of core competencies. So if you look right here, a printing company, they might have promotional items, signage, event displays, offset printing, all development, prototyping, coding, machine learning, urban farming, organic food suppliers, sustainable products, employee wellness programs, menu design. So these are all things that can list in as far as list things about your core competencies. So you at this time, you want to kind of think about what your core competencies are and kind of write them down and determine your value. List the key things that your company provides, which is on page 3 of your handout. You should see that on page 3. Does everybody see that on page 3 who's looking at the handout?
Yeah. Yes.
Okay. Yes. So think about these examples. Like I said, the printing company might provide all these different core competencies, all development and urban farming. So you see what they're kind of providing. So think about your core competencies for each of the business, what you are known for. All right, so supplier diversity and inclusion in business outreach. So these are job titles for professionals who serve as a liaison and monitor utilization of diverse suppliers at their company. Part of their job is to connect with diverse vendors for their supply chain. Supplier diversity and inclusion, the diversity and inclusion business outreach. So these are some things you might see, like going back to that corporate side, like for example, like I said, with Walmart, these are things that you might see on their website of the area that what you could look for looking for opportunities on that corporate side. So there are a few ways to provide more access to opportunities. Certification is one of them. Business owners who own 51% and meet certain criteria can apply to become certified. People in general tend to hire who they know. So if you have a buyer who has $1 million contract and they need to hire subcontractors, they are going to look at the network of people that they know. Part of the reason the certification came about is to introduce buyers to companies who are talented and qualified to work, but who may be outside of their networks. So business owners who own 51% of the company and meet certain criteria can apply to become certified. Certification is usually completed by a third party. So there's a couple of people that do certification as well, which I'll get to in a minute. But this is, I don't know who's on here that's certified, but if you are certified, this is a good opportunity of getting a way to access different opportunities of getting, and if you're not, it's a good way for you to get in the door for certain companies. So we're going to talk about corporate contracting now. We're on that path right now already. So corporations typically want companies that are certified as a blank business enterprise. That blank business could mean minority, women, veteran-owned, LGBTQ business enterprises. So these are kind of like some of the acronyms you might see right here for the certifications. So these are things that you might be interested in. So they are looking to check to see if you are who you say you are. The process to get certified varies. So each process is certified depending on the certification that you're looking to get. And some of the things that they may ask you for is more like financial information, business details, proof of ownership and control. Basically the certifiers have to prove the person that's making the daily decision fits the criteria of their certification. So WBDC and Chicago Minority Supplier are two local organizations that provide this type of certification. So like I said, Women's Business Development Center, that's the WBE certification. And then Chicago Minority Chicago Minority Supplier Development Council does the MBE certification. I'm still used to saying CMSDC. It's already like a lot saying the name. They both have additional programs to help you grow your business as well. So the WBDC and Chicago MSDC charge a fee to process certification applications. Application fees may vary from $250 to $500. Scholarships that may help decrease the cost may be available. So you'll have to ask if you qualify, but those are some things that might help with your certification cost. So here are a couple of business owners right here. So certification is a marketing tool to appeal to companies who are specifically looking for certified vendors. Some may want you to reach out to some goal, for a certain goal, and they might have been working with diverse companies. One thing that certification is not is you owe me. So no, you owe me, none of that. It's more of no one receives a contract just because they are certified. Buyers need to qualify solutions and they need someone who can get the job done. So basically, like when you have the certification, you know, you have to kind of say who you are and kind of show, you know, and kind of prove what you do before getting certified, because it's a lot of paperwork, but some people, you know, can get through it. And, you know, there's opportunities for that. So here's another business owner. Basically, she says, I procrastinated for years because I was hesitant. So much personal information for the certification application. After getting certified, I attended several events, pitched my ideas, and developed relationships. The contracts I pursue now are larger. Depending on the business model you are trying to desire for your clients, certification can provide exposure to potential buyers at WBENC and NMSWBDC. And these are different conferences that you can go to for different opportunities and exposure. So you can meet potential buyers and business owners at trade shows and local business matchmaking events. Picture a convention center with hundreds of exhibitors and booths. Each booth is a company that could be small, or it could be a company, $1 billion company like Facebook, Google, Honda. Give me 1 second. Thanks for joining. These companies could have representatives who are out to meet diverse business owners. So there will be a line of people waiting to talk to representatives and give them 30-second pitches. And you have access to all different types of connections at these events. So there are certain events that you can look for throughout the year. I know CMSDC has the event every year for trade shows, and WBDC also does different trade shows each year and conferences that will have certain buyers that's looking, or especially corporate buyers that's looking for people who are certified. So here you go, Ruby McCleary, Director of Business Diversity and Sustainability. She says, my favorite quote is, if I can help somebody as I travel along, then my living will not be in vain. So Ruby is an actual supplier inclusion diversity professional. Her favorite quote, where I just read it, she shares just how important supplier diversity is to her as a business diversity and sustainability at Allstate. In particular, they want to make sure they help close the equity gap in the community by exploring opportunities in their supplier chain by requiring their prime or larger contractors to extend opportunities as well. So Allstate, which is actually one of our sponsors for this, they look for a lot of opportunities as well. So what would you say to someone like Ruby about your business? You can kind of go off and try to shout anything out.
Yes. Hi, everyone. Thank you, Catherine, for this. This is wonderful. My name is Elle. I'm going to do the video because it's like weird not being able to maybe see me. But I would tell Ruby that my organization, I specialize in trauma training and consultation. And what I would say is that we are able to assist in retention and customer satisfaction through trauma-informed care.
Okay, that was good. That's good. That's good. Anyone else?
Oh,
Sure.
hello. Hi. My
Hi.
name is Sandra Davis.
Hi.
Hi. My name is Sandra Davis, and I'm the owner of Wealth Justice, Wealth Equity, and my company provides a virtual financial wellness academy for employees to teach them about financial literacy. There is a racial and gender wealth gap in America that is horrific. Let me give you an example. 83% of African Americans do not have the assets for retirement. 50% of women and 47% of men between the ages of 55 to 64 do not have any retirement savings. So I'm going to help you with a customized solution with Allstate. I'm also an insurance broker, that we can create a customized solution to help your workers and the community fight these issues.
Oh, wow. Okay. All good. Thank you, Sandra. Thank you. All right. I'm going to take one more.
This is Mike Thomas. If I was, I would pretty much probably ask Ruby more so what would be the ESG goals if she's focused on sustainability, and then kind of cater my conversation to what they would need more so.
Okay. Thank you so much. Thank you. And so those are all good examples of like what you would definitely say to Ruby, especially if you're at her table. Those are all great examples. Thank you very much. All right. So what makes your company different from other vendors? So just like you, Sandra, Mike, and Elle, yes, said exactly. Those are all good examples. So basically what you just did was a pitch. So you basically said what your company is different and what you can offer, which is all good things. Okay, so please write down, this is on page 6. So please write down what differentiates you from anybody else. So this could help you on page 6. I don't have the handout right now because I'm in the presentation, but whoever has the handout now. So if you look on page 6, these are all examples of what you can kind of see what differentiates yourself from. And definitely write what your company differentiates yourself from, like what your company is different. So these are kind of areas you might want to look at. Another thing too, you want to identify your client. Maybe it's a company that you have heard about in the news and you did research to find out what they don't have and what you are offering. You want to propose a solution that they don't have already. Or maybe you are responding to a request for proposal known as an RFP. The buyer knows what they want and they are asking for vendors to submit proposal. It is very important to understand the buyer's perspective so you can tailor your answers to what they're looking for. So understand common terms. So here's some common terms: capability statement, statement of qualifications, request for information, pre-bid meetings, request for proposal, request for a quote. So these are some of the common terms you might see when you're looking for a bid. These are all things that might be in, maybe even in the, you might see something called a notice of funding opportunity as well. And these are some of the things that they might have in that. So basically notice of funding opportunity or request for proposals sometimes. So a prospect may ask you for a capability statement or a statement of qualifications, both common terms to describe a summary of your company. So I'm not sure does anybody know what a capability statement is? We can go off, somebody can unmute.
No, so I'm sorry, this is Lakeisha. I've heard about them a lot. This is actually my first time seeing a breakdown of it. So
Okay.
I just appreciate you all sharing it because I had no clue like what it consists of. I would just hear it was a summary of your business, but not knowing what the difference between that and like just a business statement was, or just, executive summary or something of that sort. But this was helpful what you shared.
Yeah. Okay, cool. Thank you so much. And in that handout, it should be where you can kind of like break down what your company does and everything else. Kind of like it's very similar to a pitch, but in a different way, because it's gonna have a couple of things. It depends though on the certification, what you're trying to target to. So you might tailor it. It's very similar to a resume. You're telling your resume to the company that you are looking to get that bid from, so it's very similar to that. So thank you so much, Lakeisha. All right, a prospect may want to ask you for a request for information or to attend a pre-bid meeting. Pre-bid meetings are more common throughout government contracting though. So, usually a pre-bid meeting, they want kind of like, I would say government contracting, just when I went back to that notice of funding opportunity. So they might have pre-bid meetings to figure out, who they kind of want to look at. So that might be something you might see as well. So once a project is formalized and companies are ready to hear from you, they might ask for a request for a quote or request for a proposal. You formalize your answer as a response to a proposal or a response to a quote. So RFPs, you will have to kind of look at, and of course, the request for quote is basically a summary of what you basically shared what you offered. And basically now they're saying like, okay, well, how much are your services or how much is your product? So this will be a request for quote. And now a request for proposal could have where they have a breakdown of having that quote in there too. Because I've seen it, RFPs have, sometimes they'll say like, hey, we actually have a budget amount that we're looking for, or they'll ask you and say like, hey, can you provide a budget of what this service or this product might do? So in the request proposal, they might not see it all the time where they're asking for the money, or they might just come out and say their budget anyway, but you will likely see it in the RFP. So, all right, so now let's talk about government procurement. So government is a little bit different. So let's look at Asia. So Asia, an owner of a leadership training company. This company sells both the private and she sells both to the private and the public sectors. They are following the path of corporate contracting and government procurement contracting. The process is similar, but a little bit different. So government procurement, 6 steps to procuring government contracts. So let's look at those steps. So for this workshop, we break down government procurement into 6 steps. So identifying potential aspects. So identify. So the next will be research, companies plus opportunities. The next, ask. So ask for guidance and perspective. Obtain, certifications plus ID numbers. Prepare for the applications and expectations. And propose by submitting proposals. So identify. So these are examples of local, state, and federal agencies you may choose to work with. So the city of Chicago, which, as you see, the city of Chicago has different agencies. So think about the city of Chicago, state of Illinois, and the federal government. These are just a few departments or agencies that you could work with. So the state of Illinois has various departments. They all have different buying requirements. The federal government definitely has several different entities. So it just depends on who you're trying to target and what, because it's kind of hard to say if, like, say, for example, the city of Chicago has printers. Every department might have a printer. So, and you might provide that printer. So it just depends on who you kind of want to target, but they all have different opportunities to look for. So research. All right. So after you identify the opportunity, you want to research it. One of the things you could do to get notified by opportunities is registering for each portal. So for example, the state of Illinois has a website where you can go and list your business, and there are other websites listed in your handout too. If you see that in your handout, you can do more research by requesting information about previous contracts too, which is called the Freedom of Information Act. So most government agencies will allow you to request that, which is technically called a FOIA for short. And then you can see who actually won the contract. And sometimes this is a good way, especially if you want to be a subcontractor of a bigger contract, this is a good way to find out who that prime is, so you can be a subcontractor of that prime. Especially, this is really, I see this a lot in construction. So construction, you would definitely see this a lot, where there's a big prime, for example, like a Walsh Construction, and then you might maybe just do drywall, and you want to be a subcontractor of, and you might have the certifications and everything else. And they're looking for, like, the prime would look for that certified or corporate, not corporation, but that certified subcontractor, I should say, to say like, hey, we're willing to hire subs that have an MBE certification to do drywall. So that's a good example of like trying to look at the Freedom of Information Act, the FOIA, and requesting it from different government agencies to see who that prime is. You can also look for contracts that are similar to what you do. So every government agency has their own portals, and they actually have, this is very known in the city of Chicago. The city of Chicago usually has a procurement fair every year, and they have like a bid buying guide that comes out every year, and they'll say when the quarters on there, when they're going to be buying this stuff, and when the bid is actually going to come up there. And you can also register your business on those different sites too. Usually the city of Chicago is the procurement area, and then you can register your business on there as well.
Oh, excuse me, Catherine. This is Sandra. I actually went to it this year. It was amazing.
Oh, you did?
Yeah. And so actually do that, but also talk to each department, actually see what they need, like have a conversation. Like I had a conversation with somebody who was in charge of the Chicago Park District, and they're having issues with retaining women because there's a lot of sexual harassment or something, in that specific department. So I gotta definitely follow up though.
Yes. And I'm glad you got to know too, because I was there too.
You have to create a custom pitch for what their issue is. So I would do something custom for Chicago Park Districts, and then something custom for, a different department in the state, the city, or a local government. So, give them, you can use the same exact information, but give them exactly what they need.
Exactly, exactly. And that's all going back to that capability statement. When you're providing something to them, you want to structure that capability statement towards, you might have one that's generic, right? But then you want to structure that pitch or that capability statement towards that agency, because everybody's different. Everybody is looking for different things. So you might do multiple things too, you know? So at that time, you want to kind of restructure it. And it's a good example. That's definitely a good example, Sandra. Thank you so much. All right, so this is kind of example of what a list of contracts might look like for the Cook County. So basically it has a bid number, the department number, and a different additional information, usually like the downloading right here that you can download to figure out what that bid or that RFP is about. And some of those things that are in there, you could kind of like structure your capability statement, especially if you do it. And, you know, basically these are kind of what you would kind of look for on that. And here's like, if you look at this link right here, I'm not going to go to the link right now though, but this is a link right here that you can actually see a list of bids from Cook County. So just like Sandra said, attend procurement and networking events. So you develop the relationships, identify, research. Now ask, is it important to get the way that you can get through the process? You can ask for no cost one-on-one counseling through WBDC's Procurement Technical Assistance Center. We also are a Procurement Technical Assistance Center, so we can assist as well. Along with Chicago Minority Supplier Diversity Council as well. They have different programs, just like we have different programs as well. For example, PTech offers government one-on-one course, and we usually offer a couple of things as well. Like as far as the PTechs go, we have several webinars, several agencies that come out, and they'll do a actual webinar based off of what they offer. So every month we have a webinar that usually states like what agency is coming down and what they're going to be talking about and what they offer, and if they're going to be bringing any bids out. So these are all agencies. We're an agency as well. WBDC is an agency, Chicago Minority Supplier Development Council. We all work differently, but we do have a lot of programs to help you get there. So obtain. So identify, research, ask, obtain. So obtain public sector certifications based on the projects you want to pursue. So these are listed in your handout. So 8A is a federal certification that gives you mentoring and access to certain contracts. So you can learn about this more with the PTech. So Hub Zone certification is based on where your company and where it is and where it works. And another thing with Hub Zone is also is about your workers too. So it's a lot. So these are kind of public sector certifications. So here's a list of all of the public sector certifications. And if you want to learn more about it, we can definitely assist you in that. So let's go to the next slide. All right. So obtain certain industry codes. So these are some of the codes that you can see. So the North American Industry Classification Code, known as the NEXT codes. So this is something that you can do a search, and depending on what your business is and what you offer, you can search and the keywords that you put in. These are some of the codes that might come up. And so you also have the National Institute of Government Purchasing Codes, known as the, I guess, NIGP. So these are, so that's a different type of code. And so you can see the examples of what the code looks like. Depending on what your branch of government you want to kind of do business with, you will also need a unique ID number for your business, like what is called a UEI. So this definitely is just coming up now even more with SAM, because SAM switched to this, the unique identity ID. So definitely that's something you want to research. Now, I don't know if any of you have went through SAM yet, but now SAM is requiring that. Excuse me. So when you're ready to obtain this code, we are here to help for that. Sorry, I'm like getting the itchy cough right now. All right, so prepare. Understand the process and know the standard of expectations. Assemble documents that may be needed for your certification application as well as proposals. Obtain certification and only bid if you meet the requirements. This is very important. Only bid if you meet the requirements, because like they're gonna look past you for sure if you don't meet the requirements. Partner with others to improve your chances of getting contracts. So this goes back to what I was saying with that subcontracting. Somebody might get the prime, and because the prime has more capacity to do the actual job, or just for a variety of reasons, you might want to partner with them to be a subcontractor. But then it also biggers your chance, because you could show, especially on your capability statement, that you worked on a bigger project. So write a capability statement to communicate your value to government and corporate buyers. So like I said, you definitely want to prepare when you're trying to bid out, because like I said, it's various people that come and bid all the time. So you want to be well prepared. We want to mention capability statements. We mentioned capability statements earlier, right? So this document summarizes what your company does. Check out the various sections that you could be included on a capability statement. So basically, what does your company do? So check out a couple of capability statements to figure out, kind of like, you could kind of look at examples, because it's fairly similar. Like I said, going back to that resume, we talked about basically the ones in the orange. If you spend another hour or so, you can create this document, and when it's ready, we can give you feedback. We can give you feedback on that. So if you want to develop your capability statement and you have any questions, we definitely can give you feedback. So your next steps. So what's the next steps for you? It depends on your readiness and the readiness of your business to take the road to contracts. Let's revisit our 3 journeys based off where your business is today. So basically, look at the example: get packed up for the trip, get out on the road, and now you're ready to go. So it just depends on where you're at in the steps. But like I said, we are definitely here to help you. So if you are just getting started, think about starting a business. Consider who will own 51%, because most of the certifications say 51%, and whether you're eligible for certain certification programs. Get your business basics in place, because you want to get the basics. You definitely want to get the basics in place, okay? Like LLC, business plan, sometimes business plan, I should say. And make sure you have all the documents ready too. Start with smaller contracts to build your experience, estimating, performing, and building a team. Determine whether corporate or government contracting is the best fit for your business, because it's definitely different requirements for sure. So get out on the road, choose your destination. And if you have an established business, actively explore how corporate and government contract buyers think, what they need to purchase, and how. Start small and consider certification as help is really helpful. Of course, you gotta go the distance. If you have experience with larger transactions, register in vendor databases, network with buyers, seek out requests for proposals, and submit the bids. Like, these are all things that can shift you into getting to that contract for sure. So where are you headed? All right, so you got to ask yourself this, like, where are you headed? Are you ready? Are you just getting started, or you just need the help? You just got to figure out like what is right for your business. And like I said, we are here to help. The EMBA team is here to help you expand your business. Watch out. Basically, you're going to watch out for an email for additional programs to help you on this road to contracts. Or if you need personalized help, you can meet with us, no cost, to get guidance. Whatever you do next, we are just basically here to help. And, this was basically the EMBA program overview. So at this time, I'm definitely open to take any questions or any feedback, or I gave you a lot.
Yeah, that was pretty dope, Miss Catherine. It's Lakeisha. I really appreciated just this space that we had too. I'm pretty familiar. I wish I'm up such an in-person person. We could come into the office. I'm familiar with Miss Franchine. She helped me a lot with me get certified. So I am women's certified and minority certified. And I'm kind of like waiting for, I believe, the city to approve me. But I'm going through the stages and I'm constantly getting these alerts and the RFPs and the terminology I'm trying to get used to. And I'm always saying, like, I know I'm missing out on opportunities because I'm literally not understanding what the terminology is, or like, I guess which direction to take, or if it's for me. So a lot of what we've discussed, I do currently have in place. It's just a matter of like learning how to navigate it. And, you know, yes, like I said, understanding, even like today with the capability statement, like I feel so good, like knowing what that is. I'm like almost ready to kind of like get it done today, just to know it feels good to have a direction or understanding. So that's why I say I truly appreciate that. And like, the funny thing is I just got an email for a contract and I was like, wow, like this was perfect time. Like I really, really needed this because I'm clueless and I don't mind saying that because I just feel like closed mouths don't get fed. You got to kind of speak up to say, we need to support it. So I'm even was going to ask you, like, do you do the one-on-ones like Franchine was doing? Like, is that something we can do? Are you doing in persons? Like, what does that look like? Because I really need that coaching piece with kind of like putting it together, almost just like security of knowing that I'm doing it right.
Yes. So after this presentation, we're going to send out an actual link, and that's going to be a process. I know with, let me go back to, you can actually schedule an appointment with Patricia. I think you already have our information, right, Lakeisha?
Yeah, I do. That's why I'm like, we like
but if you you schedule an appointment with Patricia and she'll put you on the calendar for sure. And
okay.
Other than that, you know, we are going to send out a link after this for the EMBA team in general, because we are partnering with WBDC and CMSDC, which provide a lot more programming. We're going to send everything out after this presentation, and then it's going to be a link for the next steps for, you know, us to connect even more.
Okay, that'd be dope. Yeah, because I think I've even been over there in some of those webinars. I believe it was Karen Goldman, if I'm not mistaken, but just in the process of doing that as well. I'm literally like, and I excuse my terminology, but I'm a junkie for this stuff. Like I love certifications and just making sure that I have what I need to be, you know, sufficient and legit with my business. So going back to that, Miss H, I saw your comment. So I'm a social worker. My business is it's called Elements of Life Coaching. I do life and parent coaching. I also do public speaking, and my goal, I just actually got a CPS vendors contract too. So my goal is to get into, I work so hard, but my goal is to get in the system. I mean, and the contract with the social service agencies, more so like DCFS, to sort of get in there. Like I said, being a social worker, I realize what these families truly need and the impacts. And it's almost just like, you know, when you're in the field, you know, so I feel like I'm really a representative of what will work for the system. And that's my goal with this. And I'm like, it's unlimited once I see how much I can do with it. And I don't want to sell myself short. So when I say that, that's what I mean. Like, I don't want to just limit myself when I know not going all over the place, but just with my niche in the realm that I'm in, I can do so much.
Yes. Yes. I love it. Definitely love it. And I'm like, I appreciate you for attending, because like I said, information is key. Like the more you know, the more it can help out, and the more we want to grow your business. And that's the main thing, because it's several contracts. The procurement space is very, very, like, it's so many areas you can go into it. There's so much to look for, and you just never know. Like those you know, areas that we're speaking about can lead you to that contract.
Yes, absolutely. And it's like giving you all your flowers as well. It's like with the struggle that it is, because I'm glad that you like put emphasis on that. It is a lot of paperwork and it does take dedication and consistency, but to also connect with people like you all, you know, who are supportive and like really genuinely like care. Like it matters, because you have so many people who charge you thousands or hundreds of dollars for this information, or, you know, just close the door in your face, or don't want to help you, or, you know, you all know how that is with someone feeling like you maybe don't want to shine, or however it looks. But since I've been working with you all and connect, and that's the energy has just been amazing. So that does help as well with that support. So keep doing it. That's why I was telling you, like, I don't know if you saw it in the chat. I'm like, take your time. Like, we here, like, we want the information. So don't sell us short.
I got you. I got you. Thank you. And next, I see Asia has her hand up. Asia, you can, is it Asia? Right?
Yeah. Asia.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Go
Thank
ahead.
you. No, quick question. I just wanted to add, when you said that there were, well, first of all, do we have to live in a particular area to reach out to Far South Community Development Corporation?
Well, for the P-TECH, as long as you live in Illinois, you're okay. But for like the neighborhood development, so you have to live in Chicago. So it just depends on, if you're just looking for like the government contracting aspect of it, then yeah, you could live in the state of Illinois. We're good to go. For the city of Chicago, because of you know, it's neighborhood development center through the city of Chicago, you have to stay in the city. But that's the city of the MBDC program focus more on the city process and like business licensing. I also used to work for the city of Chicago doing liquor licenses. I did work for the department doing all of the, like, I know the licensing department very well. So and different programs that I focus on with the MBDC program is mainly the NOF, the CRP, you know, things that kind of more focus on retail and kind of restaurants in a way. But there's a lot of city programming out there that we can visit. But yeah, just as long as you're for the MBDC, City of Chicago, for the P-TECH, State of Illinois.
Okay, and then my last question is, I have not yet applied, or this isn't my first presentation, but this is my first like in-depth presentation. I just want to know, how long is the process when you're you know, submitting your proposals or what have you to the bids, I guess?
So, you know, it's hard to answer in a way because it depends on the agency. Sometimes, like if you're looking at government, they'll have like a month window, right? They'll have a month window open, and then they might close that window, and then they might not take about 2-3 weeks to like go over that information. Or it could be like a corporate person that says like, hey, you know, it might be one person doing everything within that week. So some of the RFPs will have actually that time frame they're looking at. But it kind of depends though, you know. It's not one agency, and one agency, it's so many departments, I should say. So many departments, corporations have so many areas too. So it just depends. Sometimes there's the person that is requesting the proposal, or having the notice of funding opportunity out there would put a contact person at the bottom, or they'll put an email that says like, hey, reach out to this person for a question. And it just varies in a way. So it's kind of hard to answer that question, I should say, because it's kind of on their time in a way. But most times especially in government, they'll have a window of a certain amount of time where they want to receive proposals, and then they'll close that window. And then, you know, a couple of weeks, it might be even a month, they might review all that information, and then they'll let you know, notify you if you have been awarded of that contract. Asia, I hope that answers.
That answered my question. Thank you. I saw Sandra's hand was up, so I thought you were going to move on to her. Thank you.
No problem. No problem. Sandra.
Hello, yes, hi.
Hi.
I didn't have a chance to listen to all the recordings, but did you attend the the Allstate Supply Diversity Conference Summit that they just had a few weeks ago?
I was not able to because I was actually out of town at another conference, but I know it's always good.
Yeah, they have the recording. I got to look at them. You know, we got to look at the recording before December 11th. So I don't know if you're going to do that. I definitely want to review it.
Yeah.
And maybe with this and like, you know, doing the follow-up, maybe I'll, you know, have some ideas to customize some things. But
Yeah,
thank you.
most definitely. Most definitely. Yes. Yes.
You
Captain, I heard you mention also something about, let me shut my camera. Something about the trade shows. We're gonna go back through the slideshow again, but about attending the shows in person. So I was actually on one most recently, but it was like in Virginia. They had it online, but then they had an opportunity to go in person. Obviously, I couldn't make that, but are they often held in Chicago, or will you have to like travel out?
No, there's a lot of them held in Chicago, like CMSDC, just like Sandra mentioned. They have one pretty much every year where they bring out vendors. And then WBDC too does have I wouldn't say trade shows, I wouldn't say like more conferences, I guess, but
Okay.
but some of the trade now, I'm not gonna lie, like some people like Pepsi or something, they'll have like trade shows where they'll have different alike, like they'll be in the like-minded in a way space, like maybe be like a beverage conference, right? And it might be
Yeah.
Pepsi, Coca-Cola, all those type of people there. So it's like if you sell beverages, you might want to attend that conference. Sometimes you could kind of Google those conferences because there's a lot of stuff that happens in Chicago. I know COVID kind of affected a lot over the past years where it kind of made it more virtual, but I know they're getting back to that, especially like at McCormick Place, where a lot of them trade shows happen at McCormick Place. So like the Women's Business Expo that happened this year, and there was a lot of people, a lot of vendors that were there. Especially if you like, they of course they gear all their events to African American, women and everything else, but there was a lot of vendors that were there, and some of the vendors were especially, that's a good way to get your product out there, especially if you have some hair product or some service or something. It's just you never know who you're gonna meet there, and even like going back to the example, McCormick Place buys stuff too. They might buy I don't know, popcorn, and they want to sell it at one of their events like that, so that's another thing too, as an example of like more of that corporate side. So a lot of people don't think about it like that. They be like, oh, well, and I start looking into it even more, like going into a place, you're like, oh, well, McCormick Place, what do they buy? They buy furniture, they buy carpet, they buy, and you got to get your mind into this procurement space, get your mind into thinking like that,
And so right about that, because, and I think about the service that I do when it comes to life coaching, like a lot of times people need those people to come in and talk to their staff about, self-care or, mental health, things like that. So I definitely try to think outside the box. Like I can convince you that you need some type of service, whether it's parenting or that type of thing. But yeah, you definitely have to be open-minded when it comes to selling your business.
Exactly. And so, I mean, these are all good examples and everything of what you want to definitely look for, because, thinking outside the box is the main thing.
Yeah.
Let me stop sharing my screen. So I'm going to stop sharing my screen. Thank you so much, everyone. But I'm going to stop sharing my screen right now. Okay, I was trying to see the okay, so Elle had to leave. Okay, so everyone, thank you so much. Do you have any more questions?
This is Rashonda. I don't have a question. I just want to say, this is a lot of information, but it's definitely appreciative. I didn't even know half of this stuff. And the crazy part is in the industry that I'm in, we do a lot of trade shows, and I never thought like, oh, there's a trade show for government opportunities. So I'm really excited to kind of dig into that presentation myself and kind of dissect it and go through with you guys' help with the assistance moving forward on actually putting everything in progress. So thanks for the information, and I look forward to, meeting with you guys, kind of get this ball rolling for me.
Yeah.
Please tell us what you do.
Oh, what I do? So what I do is I run the business department at Far South CDC. So the two programs that I mentioned, along with everything else with the business department, I do. I used to work for the city of Chicago doing
The lady Rashonda, you too, but I'm definitely
okay. I'm about to say
sorry.
that. I'm running down the whole script. Like, wait.
Oh, in my normal day-to-day job, I work for a